Welcome back. After the product requirements have been gathered in user stories and epics, it's time to structure the product backlog. Similar to the way we created an activity list from the work breakdown structure in the case of a traditional or waterfall project, the user stories from the different epics are also listed together to form the product backlog. Remember how the user stories were described? As a user, I want to be able to, etc., etc. This description served its purpose during the requirements gathering phase, but now we need to translate it so it sounds more task-orientated. For example, the user story, as a user, I want to be able to see the ingredient list for each pizza, would be named as add ingredients box next to each item, or something similar that sounds more practical for the project work. By transforming the initial user stories in that way, we create something like a to-do list for the development team. The user stories become formalized as part of the backlog. Note, the term Product Backlog Items, or PBIs, may also be used by certain organizations to indicate the list of work items in the backlog. Okay, with the full list in place, we now have the product backlog. Moving on. As we already know from the previous Scrum lessons, the pieces of work, or user stories, are distributed through the project sprints. And that's right, you remembered well. This happens during Sprint 0. But let's see if you remember another advantage of the Agile methodologies. The product is developed step by step, generating completed parts of the product throughout the project and not as a whole, only at the very end. When a bigger functionality or a group of functionalities is completed, let's say an epic or a group of epics, the Scrum team completes a product release. That basically means that users can now start using this part of the product scope for business purposes, even if the project continues working on the remaining parts of this product. In this way, with the Scrum methodology, the organization could start benefiting from the newly developed product way before the whole development project is completed. This is a great strategic advantage, as it decreases the so-called time to market, or the period between the moment somebody has an idea and the moment of having an actual product introduced to the market. Of course, as the project progresses and new functionalities are released, the product becomes more and more complete. This is very much the case of software development projects, where the most important functionalities are programmed first so people can start using and testing them in a real-life environment. Then, additional features can be added, or released once ready, thus upgrading the product further. Alright, it's a good moment to introduce another very important concept. Have you heard the abbreviation MVP? If yes, you most probably associate it with sports, where MVP stands for the most valuable player. In Scrum projects, on the other hand, MVP stands for the minimum viable product. As the name suggests, this refers to this early version of the product, which includes the most important functionalities and capabilities to make the product viable or usable in practice. The MVP possesses the minimum number of features that will enable the organization to start using it, even if there is more work to be done. Let's give a quick example. Say in our pizza delivery case, we have 3 main epics. 1. The basic website with the menu lists where you can choose a pizza. 2. The online payment functionality where you can pay for the selected pizza and finalize the order. 3. Make your own pizza functionality, with which the customer can select the exact ingredients and order a custom pizza. Which functionalities and features do you think the MVP must include in this case? In other words, what are the functionalities without which the pizza restaurant cannot start offering deliveries and introduce its new service to the market? It would not make sense to start offering deliveries without either being able to select a pizza and be able to pay for it to complete the order. The third epic seems like a really nice feature too. However, it is definitely not critical for the website to start working. So, most probably, these will be 1 and 2, meaning MVP during release 2. The definition of the MVP is a key moment as it sets a clear target for the project, defining the features without which the product cannot be used in any way. With an MVP in place, the organization can start benefiting from the project work and in the meantime collect feedback from early adopters for the following releases, which are still to be done. Great. We have learned the critical aspects of how the scope is defined and managed in a Scrum project. In the next lesson, we will review the key roles in a Scrum project. See you there.